Hey, good morning. Welcome. Today, July 16th, Coffee Chat. Welcome, guys. Glad you're here. Glad to be catching up with you. And always appreciate whatever comments, say hi, whatever, wherever I catch you, find you at this time in the morning. And just glad you guys are here. Good morning, Debbie. Debbie, you are a model of consistency here every day. Appreciate that. And yeah, guys. So kind of the topic for today is a little bit the final countdown. You know, we got another 36 hours until Celebration 2020. In case you're not sure where that's going on, Celebration Live 2020. I think you can also get there through Isagenix Live or Isagenix Business. All those things will be directed. One of the things that I saw yesterday, wanted to make mention is at one point you had to sign in with like your back office ID or whatever. Now you just go. You go there, you watch, and again that starts Friday evening, tomorrow evening. Then for a couple hours, then we transition into Saturday. Saturday is kind of a split session where you have a general session in the morning, then we have our breakout sessions, and then the gala is that night. And so some of you, I know I've kind of seen pictures of it. I've heard stories where you're starting to get a little booklet like this where it is the Gala Awards. And so this is for people that are, let me go through new Legacy Club members, top 5 recruiters, top 5 enrollers, leadership growth, team growth, leader in action, Start 1000 award. You have your annual income earners over 100,000, 250, 500, 750 million. And then we get into the top 100 income earners, the ZJA top income earners, then Woman of the Year, Women of Isagenix, Couple of the Year, Man of the Year, Global Leader of the Year, Spirit of Isagenix, which I'm so excited. We have a couple nominees for Spirit of Isagenix, Natalie Smith and Kate Vickers. Excited for you guys, you ladies. And so maybe you're getting one of those. If not, maybe that's something to put on your goal, your vision, whatever it may be for a year from now. But that's what's coming your way here at, for Global Celebration in 36 hours. It goes Friday evening, again, Saturday morning. You have a breakout session times where you can go and pick any of the breakout videos. And one of the things that yesterday afternoon, last night, Natalia Mulieri shared a live video here in Impact Makers. If you missed it, go back and watch it, and where she talks a little bit about what her breakout session for Celebration goes through. We also have a Lindsay Hofber who is going to be sharing today. She is on one of the panels. And then Laura Stevens, Whitney Beers are going to be sharing as well. And then I'll probably sneak in here at some point and talk a little bit more about, I'll probably do that tomorrow. Maybe coffee chat even. Tomorrow discussing the breakout session that I host, talking about leadership. And so that's what's coming your way, guys. That's what's exciting. And remember, we also have all these new products. I see a lot of you guys sharing them. I see a lot of you people talking about them. I see a lot of those things going on, which is exciting and great. And that's awesome. And, keep talking about that stuff. Keep sharing that. The whole blend toolkit is available. Isagenix Business. There's also a, toolkit page where all the deliverables from a standpoint. If you see anything on social media from Isagenix, that is available at shareables.isagenixbusiness.com, I believe. Wow. That's a quick rundown in 4 minutes. And so the next thing I want to kind of tap into here, and I was listening to a podcast this morning, a new podcast. I quite honestly had subscribed to it a while ago. It was from an author. He wrote a book that my son and I listened to, subscribed to his podcast. And just this morning, as I was kind of filtering through things I was listening, and so I listened to it, and he talked about influence, and I'm like, okay, I really enjoy the topic of leadership. It's something that I really have gotten to enjoy and become quite passionate about, because I see how it affects every single strain of life. I had the opportunity, I had somebody ask me to be on a podcast, and we were talking about, what area do you really like about leadership? I'm like, dude, it's all of it. And I even shared, something with him as a parent. where really learning about my kids and understanding to best be a parent is really, modeling great leadership for our children. It's how I lead you guys, how I lead anyone, how I'm led. And am I doing that as a parent? And the guy kind of joked. He goes, yeah, I was at a Starbucks and I ordered something, and my son was with me, and I said to the barista, oh, thank you so much. Have a great day. I appreciate the smiling on your face, everything. And then he turns to his son and says, be quiet. We're going to be just, and it's how quick we can fall into those things, and understanding that's influence. You're influencing the person from you. You're influencing your children. And if you don't have children, all right, just take it for what it is. But why I bring it up today is one of the things that I often hear from people is like, oh, I share all the time, and it's just I'm not getting anywhere, and people just don't want to do this, or really kind of on the other extent of that is like, oh, I went and did that. I just didn't think it would be a big deal. I didn't think anyone would pay attention. We all have the ability to influence. Whether it's as a parent, whether it's as a sibling, whether it's part of an organization, we're all have the capacity of influence wherever we're at. And don't for a second think, and this is something that I need to remember, hey, we're all given a platform to influence people. And it doesn't matter if it's 1 or a billion. There is no scorecard when it comes to influence and how that can affect, because you can influence 1 and that person then can influence 10, who those 10 could influence tens of thousands. And, it was initially, was it the first drop of water that made the Grand Canyon, or was it the torrential, pouring of water over time? Well, you got to start with that one drop, and that drop, then lays into more and more and more. And so why I bring up influence is, again, this podcast that I was listening to was really good, and I haven't quite finished it, so I don't know if I want to share it with you guys yet, but there's some good nuggets. But it reminded me of a book. It's, How to Be a Person of Influence by John Maxwell. There's also a book is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And I think those are great examples of all of us can hone in and understand our influence more and more and more. And one of the biggest oversights is thinking that we don't have the ability to influence people. We may need to change our tactics so we can better influence them. But then there's also, this is something that I think is the backside of that influence. And this is just an experience I've had in, this podcast this morning. You mentioned it because the host said, hey, I have a platform, and he does. He goes, and I have this ability to influence people, but I've also needed to check myself and make sure that I be careful about what I let into my life, because that influences me. And one of the attributes that I believe is some of the most influential people can actually be the most influenced. And, as this host on this podcast said, usually the influential people sometimes are teachable, and that's why they are have the ability to influence others. So when they're teachable, they can be influenced. And so why I share that is like, hey, if we're struggling to find people to influence, then my suggestion is we need to rein in and just kind of learn how to be a better person, better influencer, right? And not to use the term today is like, hey, unfortunately that has been misshapen. But, if you are to influence people, and leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less, when we start falling into that and saying, uh-oh, I didn't think my actions were going to have that effect. In other words, if we're talking about business, we're talking about Isagenix, we're talking about the opportunity to build a business, is, the fact that, hey, my actions are going to lead into actions of someone else. It's been said in leadership, people, only do 20% of what you say, but they do 100% of what you do. And so, if you're doing something, that is really a great way to influence. It's how we model ourselves to others is what they're going to do. And so I leave that with you, influence ... because I want to leave it as a challenge for you to look within. And here's something that I've been really going through the last couple days. And I'm probably going to talk about it tomorrow when I discuss my leadership segment, because there's an opportunity for people to assess their personal leadership. And one of the things that I realize, and I've kind of, one of the topics on my mind this week has been blind spots. And sometimes our influence can, be suspect or subject to our blind spots. Suspect in the fact that if we're not able to influence, usually there's a blind spot. There's a reason why. And number two is when it's subject is because our blind spot is holding us back, whatever it may be. And so I encourage you, and I'll talk more about this tomorrow, is one of the best ways that I've ever had to grow, and it was probably some of the most painful, is when I opened myself up to say, hey, give me some perspective, help me understand what I can't see because it's a blind spot. And so I want to tie that back into influences that, sometimes the best way to influence others is by simply asking, say, hey, help me see what I can't see. And so that's what I got for you this morning, guys. Thank you for joining in on this coffee chat. Again, look for those videos Natalia Mulier shared last night. You have more live videos coming in the next 2 days talking about celebration and some of our amazing, team members, family, organizational, people of organization that are going to be presenting at Celebration. I'm excited to watch what they have, excited to see what they have. And so I hope you guys are too. Make sure you tune into those things. Give them some good feedback, give them some, kudos and celebrate them. And so thank you for joining here this morning. Have a great day, and I will catch you back here tomorrow.